There's no cure for racing. You're not even going broke. The only cure for racing is the end of our lives, not the end of our career.
By far the best series I've ever raced in, dollar for dollar. I can race all year on a quarter what it would cost me to run anything else.
Here you can beat it out or make a new one and be back the next week. And it's really an affordable series. I really like it.
It's nice to come back, and have the car slide around, and, put it back in the driver's hands. I like that.
Everybody, I'm Olivia Pritchett, and I want to welcome you to another Super Cup Stock Car Series race. Well, driver Bob Shack currently holds first for both the National and Southern Division Championship. However, recently, Ben Ebling, number 44, took home a win, really tightening up the competition for the Southern Division Championship. Then you have drivers like Stephen Cox, who recently took home a second-place finish here. Guys, the competition is high, and being a 3/8 mile oval, there is not a lot of time or room to get to the front. Welcome to Kingsport Speedway.
Otherwise known as the Concrete Jungle, the Super Cup Stock Car Series rolls out for its second of two races here tonight at Kingsport Speedway. Hello, everybody. I'm Gene Crane. You heard from Olivia Pritchett. We'll bring you the action as the Super Cup competitors head out for what we expect will be another exciting night of racing. Let's look at the starting lineup for the Operation Johnson Kitty Friday Night Thunder, presented by Racing Radio's Mike Potter. Will start from the pole with car 14. Ben Ebling, winner of race 1, starts on the outside. Stephen Cox moved his way up to finish second in race 1. He'll start the 21 inside row 2. He's joined by Bob Shack, who's already been to victory lane 3 times in 2018. Brad Teague lines up the 12 inside row 3. He's joined by Kevin Cromer in the 77 car, and Larry Berg in car number 7 inside row 4, along with the 99 of Dale Schlomo. Rob Langdon from Freeport, Long Island, New York starts inside row 5, and Bill Ashton takes the 35 from the outside. John Curley had trouble with the 28 during race number 1. He lines up inside row 6, along with Mark Jones in the 22. Shotgun on the field will be car number 0, John Miller. So in an exciting race number 1, Ben Ebling went to victory lane, but Mike Potter set fast time earlier today and drew the pole. Pace car heads to pit road, and teammates already doing a little bumping over in turns 3 and 4 as they come off the corner. Green is in the air. We're underway here at Kingsport. Drag race down to turn 1. Ebling carries it in deep, arcs it in wide. Gets a run on Potter, but Potter comes back to the inside. Stops the binders, runs up the hill a little bit, squeezes Ebling out. Mike Potter to the race lead. Stephen Cox in that 3rd spot. Closes in on Ebling. Little contact as they work off of turn 4. Stephen Cox in 3rd. Here comes Bob Shack in the 75 car. Cox lost a little momentum, and Shack on the outside able to go by and take over 3rd. So Ebling and Potter, a little contact that time into the corner. Runs Potter up the racetrack. Ebling to the inside. He'll get to turn 3, and Ebling seems to have the advantage, and off the corner, Ebling takes over the lead. Potter back to 2nd. Shack is 3rd, and Stephen Cox 4th. Brad Teague rounds out the top 5 of the 12 car. He's got 3 cars challenging from behind, but 2nd is a battle in turn 3. Bob Shack to the inside of Potter. Potter's 14 up the racetrack. Shack at the 75 will take over 2nd. Potter back to 3rd. Stephen Cox in that 4th position, watching this battle as they work off of turn 2. Down into turn 3, Ben Ebling has opened up for maybe 5 car length advantage, riding along with Bob Shack, the Super Cup on board with Bob Shack. He closes in, tries to reel in Ebling in that 44 car here in the early going. Ebling would like to go to victory lane once again. Shack also in that boat. He'd like to make win number 4 in 2018 here tonight in race 2. Here's our top 5, Ebling, Shack, Potter, Cox, and Teague as we head to break. Don't go away. More coming your way from Kingsport Speedway. The Super Cup Stock Car Series is brought to you by RacingJunk.com and by 303. Keeps your car looking new longer. Super Cup Stock Car action, Kingsport Speedway. Second of twin 50-lappers here tonight. The Operation Johnson Kitty Friday Night Thunder, presented by Racing Radios, where Ben Ebling wrestled the race lead away from Mike Potter. Potter gave up a spot to Bob Schacht, and Schacht now trying to reel in the winner from race number 1, Ben Edlin. Schacht runs that car, got a car width lower that time in turns 1 and 2. He's able to keep his number 75 fairly close to the bottom of the racetrack. Schacht with a lot of experience, and Ben Edlin doing a whale of a job. He's holding off guys that have got a lot of really significant experience.
I'll tell you what, this is a thrill for me. We have 3 Winston Cup drivers here that have made it to the Daytona 500. Brad Teague, Mike Potter, and Bob Schacht. So we're really pleased to have drivers of that caliber here in our series. Well, it's wonderful to be here at Kingsport Speedway. The manager, Karen Tonnell, has been a friend of mine forever. She used to be a spotter in our series years ago. We tried last year twice, I think. We were rained out, and so they said we're just happy to be here today.
They're putting on a whale of a show, and folks, don't let Joe fool you. He was a member of the Skull Bandits back when Harry Gant was tearing it up there in the Cup Series. Up front, Bob Schacht is closed in on Ben Edlin. Further back, as we look through the field, there's Ron Langdon. Langdon gets the Long Haul Award. Long way from Long Island, New York, from Ron Langdon. Langdon finished 5th in the most recent event and has a career high of 3rd here in Super Cup.
So you're relatively new to the series, and you're making your way up in points quickly. You're top 5 right now. Where's the speed coming from?
My crew and help from basically the other drivers in the series. I've been racing for 40 years and trying to take everything that I know from that and apply to this, which sometimes applies and sometimes doesn't, and just working the best we can.
Super Cup seems pretty important to you. You drove 700 miles to be here, is that right?
Yeah, we it's a trip, but my crew guys put in a lot of time and a lot of work, and I did it for them. We weren't originally going to come here. We had some damage to the car after Midvale, and they really wanted to be here, and I said, you know what, if they want to be here that bad, I'm going to come, and this is a great series. I wish more people knew about it.
Langdon continues to dig from inside the top 10. Up front, leaders have caught traffic. Edling will dive to the bottom side of the 22, then swing to the wide side of the 0. Slicing and dicing through turns 3 and 4. Bob Schacht follows in his tire prints. Car length separation. They're going to look to the inside of the 35. So we go on board with Bob Schacht's Super Cup on board. Whoa, look out. Bob Schacht clips the inside wall down in turn 3. Did he damage that car? Schacht is falling back from Edling just a little bit, but does not seem to be losing any distance at this point in time. Keep an eye on that. Interesting development for Bob Schacht in that second position as he tries to challenge. On board with Larry Berg. This is the battle just outside the top 5, trying to get by Brad Teague. What Berg can do with Brad Teague as they work down the front straightaway once again. Heavy traffic. Further up ahead, Brad Teague goes wide out of turn 2. That opens the door up for Larry Berg. Berg down to turn 3, carries it in deep. Might have got to the rear bumper of the 12 car, moves Teague up the racetrack side by side back to turn 1. Great battle right now for the top 5. Larry Berg trying to wrestle 5th away from Brad Teague as they work back down the straightaway and into turn 3. So Larry Berg looks like he is going to get by Brad Teague, move Brad Teague out of the top 5. It's Edling, Schacht, Potter, Cox, and Berg, your top 5 here at Kingsport Speedway. We're back with more Super Cup action right after this. The Super Cup Stock Car Series is brought to you by Extreme Awards and Personalization and by G-Force Racing Gear, your home for quality, innovation, and value. Cody Robaugh enjoying the sights as his cars run 4th and 5th. Stephen Cox in 4th, and his grandfather, Larry Berg, wrestling the 5th position away from Brad Teague. Up front, it's Edling and Schacht. And they are battling it out. Bob Schacht, that contact with the inside wall has not hampered his ability to reel Edling back in as they battle for the lead over in turn number 3. Schacht all the way to the rear bumper of Ben Edling as they battle for the lead. Meanwhile, Brad Teague was 5th. and has dropped all the way back to the 8th position right now, right behind the 77 of Kevin Cromer. Brad Teague, a lot of experience as we go on board with Brad Teague's number 12. A lot of experience in bringing you here to Super Cup.
I've been running NASCAR for a long time. I've run probably close to 300 races in all 3 divisions, trucks, and the Xfinity and the Monster Energy series, but got quite a bit of experience in there.
How do you feel racing against others with similar experience?
Well, I like racing with anybody, really. You know, it's just, well, the competition's pretty good. I've run 2 races now, and it's been some good racing, really. I've enjoyed it.
Brad Teague, certainly enjoyed watching him for many, many years. Now joining us in the Super Cup and putting on a show as well. Up front, Ebling trying to hold off a charging Bob Schacht in that 75. Schacht all over that rear bumper, within a half car length on most occasions. This time Ebling opens up by about 2 car lengths as they exit turn 2, both cars. The rotors aglow as they work it here at Kingsport Speedway. Super Cup action, and Bob Schacht takes it in deep, stomps on the binders, keeps that car on the low side. Ben Ebling doing all he can to keep that veteran behind him. They battle for not only the race win, but very close in the Southern Division points here in Super Cup. Speedy Cam showing the action as both Larry Berg and Stephen Cox screamed by. There was John Curley's 28 car. Back on board, Brad Teague. There's Curley directly ahead. Teague trying to find his way around the 77 of Cromer. Trying to get that 7th position back off a turn. Oh! Curley into the side of Cromer. Cromer in trouble. Sparks from the right front. That might have cut a right front tire for Kevin Cromer. Things were heating up in a hurry, and Brad Teague able to avoid the incident, but Curley's car, John Curley, that got crossed up out of turn 4 into the side of Cromer. And we are under caution here at Kingsport Speedway. Here's another look at it. Curley's car gets crossed up out of 4 down and into the right front of the 77. Cromer taking evasive action, but not enough room as he tried to avoid Curley's car. And you can see Curley's car just jumping around right behind Dale Schlobohm's 99 car. Oddly enough, a car driven by Curley in years past. And it was all Cromer could do to keep from drop kicking Dale Schlobohm down there in turn 1. Definitely a right front tire down on Cromer's number 77. Damage from race number 1 evident on the hood of that car, but Kevin Cromer will pull it to the hauler. Looks like it might be the end of the night for Kevin Cromer in the 77 car. So under caution with Ben Ebling, Bob Schacht, Mike Potter, Stephen Cox, and Larry Berg, your top 5 here at Kingsport. Don't go away. More Super Cup action right after this. The Super Cup Stock Car Series is brought to you by Performance Fiberglass Products and by Sta-Bil Oil Stabilizer. Prevent corrosion above and below the oil line. A lot of action here tonight. Super Cup action. Kingsport Speedway right front of Kevin Cromer as well as the nose, as Cromer parking that car for the rest of this event. On the track, field shaping up in the Operation Johnson Kitty Friday Night Thunder presented by Racing Radios. Race number 2 setting up for a restart. Ebling and Schacht will line up side by side. Ebling has been your race leader most all race long. Mike Potter to the inside of Larry Berg's 7 car. Then Stephen Cox as well as Brad Teague make up that 3rd row for the restart. Green is out. Down to turn 1 they go. Ebling gets a nose out in front of Bob Schacht. Schacht up on the outside, not willing to give way. He'll go in on the outside over in turns 3 and 4. Leaders off the corner. Still side by side at start finish. Larry Berg asserts that 7 car into the 3rd spot. Off the 2nd turn, Ebling will scoot out by maybe a car length or so over Bob Schacht. Larry Berg closes in, 3-car battle. Not far back is Potter and Stephen Cox. A cross start finish and back to turn 1. Ebling stays on the bottom of the racetrack. So we ride along with the C7R Motorsports on board of Larry Berg. See the right rear damage on Shaq's car, but we also saw the damage on the car 77 of Kevin Cromer.
Well, the 28 car got loose going in turn 3 here, and I drove under him, and he just drives into me. Right off and slammed me on the right side, flattened the tire, forced me down into the 99 car. Nowhere to go.
I wondered if 77 Cromer got into the 99 of Schlombaum, and apparently he did. Tough break for Kevin Cromer, driver out of Pennsylvania. Back up front, though, it is Ebling, looking to make it 2 in a row here tonight at Kingsport Speedway. Bob Schacht in tow along with Larry Berg, Mike Potter. Good battle up front. Bob Schacht closes in. Berg really buries it off deep in turn 3, closed in. Lost some ground at the exit of turn 4. Bob Schacht remains on that rear bumper cover of the 44 of Ben Ebling as we ride along with Bob Schacht here at Kingsport Speedway, where we're just glad to get here after several rainouts.
Oh, it's just been phenomenal. We had the Super Cup Series at Lonesome Pine Raceway a couple years ago, and it was just an awesome show. And to see a lot of veterans that have raced here, Brad Teague, Mike Potter, you know, they have cut their teeth here over the last 50 years. So we're just really excited about having the whole Super Cup gang here with us. We have really come a long way here at Kingsport Speedway. We're just trying to get all the race fans back into the home tracks and get short track racing up and going again.
We'll add to that list of drivers racing here in the past, Mike Kurkowski in that one car. I believe he raced here on several occasions back in the All-Pro days. Up front, Ben Ebling, still showing the way. Bob Schacht has not let go. Bob Schacht still within a car length. Brake rotors glowing on the front of both race cars as these guys push these cars to the limit. Trying to score a win in the closing stages here at Kingsport Speedway on board with Larry Berg. Berg in that third spot and going around. Larry Berg swaps ends. Car goes around. Third place car in trouble as we go to caution. Larry Berg was doing all he could to try to reel in those leaders once again, and around went the 7 car. So we are under caution with just a handful of laps remaining. Ben Ebling, along with Bob Schacht, will get another shot at it here on the restart. As we head to break, a look at the top 5, Ebling and Schacht, along with Potter in 3rd, Stephen Cox up to 4th, and Larry Berg recovers to hang on to 5th. Don't go away. Your finish is coming right up. The Super Cup Stock Car Series is brought to you by Racing Radios and by G-Force Racing Gear, your home for quality, innovation, and value. The crowd here at Kingsport Speedway about to see a 3-lap shootout to decide it here tonight. It's the Operation Johnson Kitty Friday Night Thunder, presented by Racing Radios, as the field gets set to regroup. Stephen Cox and Larry Berg are going to use the choose rule. And that means Stephen Cox will pull all the way up to the outside of row number 1 for this start. It's Ebling, Cox, Schacht, and Berg. First 4 cars as they come off the corner, greens in the air, and they haul it off to turn 1, side-by-side battle. Stephen Cox up on the outside trying to find a way around Ben Ebling. They finish 1-2 in race number 1. Bob Schacht closing in. Cox is going to have to get it done from the outside. Schacht has not been leaving a lot of room, but Stephen Cox finds room. He'll drop down behind Ben Ebling. Ebling showing the way. 2 to go as they head down that back straightaway. Stephen Cox trying to close in. Can he get there? Bob Schacht also lurking in the very near distance. White flag in the air. Field across, start finish. Back to turn 1. Ebling has one more time around the 3/8 mile. Stephen Cox slides a little at the exit of turn 2. Ebling with a little more advantage off of turn number 4, coming to checkers, and it is Ben Ebling. He will head to victory lane for the 2nd time this evening. His 4th career win in Super Cup competition. Ben Ebling gets the job done here tonight. There's Stephen Cox pulling up alongside, saw a big thumbs up from Stephen Cox. They go 1-2 in both races here at Kingsport Speedway. Let's hear from our happy winner here tonight, Ben Ebling.
Ben Ebling, congratulations on 2 wins now at Kingsport. What in the world?
I don't know what to tell you there. The grace of God right there is how we got that. The good Lord was smiling on us, definitely. So my legs started cramping up about lap 5. And that caution was kind of the first one was kind of welcome, so I could stretch it out a little bit. But, man, I can't thank these guys enough. These guys busted butt trying to get this car right. We changed springs, we changed everything, and man, we had it pretty much as good as you can get it. So, and I thank all these guys for running me clean, and just really enjoyed it. And my wife, she's the greatest spotter that ever lived, so I love her a bunch. She did an awesome job spotting for me. So just really got to thank the sponsors, SwanniesAutoSales.net, Startown Carpet and Floorings, Battery Specialist at Hickory, and Mike Potter for even giving me this opportunity to drive his car. This is a great opportunity, and I love driving this thing, that he lets me do it.
Fantastic job.
Thank you.
Boy, that was simple racing math. You had 3 laps, a half dozen drivers, 1 trophy, and man, we saw one whale of a finish. Let's hear from our second place finisher, Stephen Cox.
All right, Stephen Cox, second place again. Seemed like you were really pushing.
Yeah, Thomas Robaugh came over the radio at the end, and he said, dive in, just dive into the corner. And so if you look on the last lap going into 1 and 2, I dove in so hard that the car just washed up. And I figured if he has a bad corner, if he's not dead on, then I'll get him. But Ben's dead on. You know, he was so good all day. All day. He was the class of the field. And the funny thing was, our car was good enough if we could have just gotten in front of him for 1 lap. He couldn't have got back around us. But couldn't get there. I was driving it sideways, off turn 4, coming down for the white flag, and I just couldn't quite get him.
Let's look at our finishing order tonight. Ebling, Cox, Shack, Potter, and Berg, your top 5. Ron Langdon has a good run tonight, finishes 6th, followed by Brad Teague. John Curley recovers for 8th. John Miller and Bill Ashton round out your top 10. Remainder of the finishing order, Mark Jones, Dale Schlobohm, Kevin Cromer, Brent Nelson, and Mike Kurkowski all had some difficulties here this evening. Well, it was an exciting race. Look forward to seeing you next time we go racing here in the Super Cup Series. For Olivia Pritchett and the entire Sopworth Motorsports crew, I'm Gene Crane, and we'll see you next time.